Hey everybody, I had a PIR sensor on this particular camera get knocked out by a woodpecker. So I'm going to talk to you folks on how I got that fixed, the process, and how long it took. Now this is for the Tactacam Reveal. Other cameras I'm sure are going to be a little bit different, but I'm going to talk to you why I went this particular route and go a little bit more in depth in regards to that. And then I also want to show you a little clip for my last video that I did on mock scrape locations and what happened after I created a particular mock scrape. Let's go over all of that right now. The woodpecker or woodpeckers got a hold of the sensor, and there's about 6 holes in there actually. So we're gonna take this guy down. Thank goodness I actually have another trail camera with me that I was gonna put up somewhere else because this is a good spot. So let me get this guy changed out and then I'll show you why I'm in this particular location right here. Oh yeah, he did a good one. Now this essentially was on me, it was my fault, it wasn't a manufacturing defect. So I contacted Tactacam and looked into the route of getting this fixed. Now, I know somebody else who happened to have the same issue. And he mentioned to me, Clint, I purchased the PIR sensor separately and I went to fix it myself. And he said it was essentially a pain in the butt to get fixed because you have these very tiny screws. You have to take a multitude of screws out, a rubber gasket off. And then if you lose anything or misplace it just right, it is a pain in the butt, literally. So I'm like, you know what? I don't have time for that. I don't want to take an issue with that. I was afraid that was going to maybe void the warranty. So what I did is I went on the Tactacam website, and one of the neat features, and you can sign up for this if you own over 6 Tactacams or Tactacam Reveals, is that you can become a platinum member, and it's free, doesn't cost anything, and you have some neat perks and features. And one of the neat perks is that if you have an issue with your Tactacam that you have to send in for any reason, you can get a prepaid shipping label on them. So I didn't have to pay for the shipping there, and then they ship it back. Price-wise, looking it up, you can purchase the lens separately and do it yourself. But for me, looking on their website, it was $20 and I believe 89 cents. So essentially, we'll call it $21 plus tax. And you send it in, they fix it, and they send it back to you. So I decided to go that route, and I am so happy that I did. One of the nice things is that when I sent it in just 2 days later, I got a picture or pictures of the individual that was working on the camera. So I thought that was kind of neat to be able to kind of see that happening in the process. And then all they asked is that when I sent it in is to remove the antenna and take out your SD card and just keep that with yourself. And that I think just helps to prevent from the antenna getting broke and then this card getting lost, or maybe if the camera, they deemed it essentially junk, you wouldn't be out the SD card. So I did just that. They ran it through a little test because if you think about it, those holes that were in here, it could let moisture or water in it. And even though I ran it shortly after, it ran fine. Who knows, there could have been some internal damage. And then they ran it through a test. So it was essentially a peace of mind that this camera was fixed properly, costing me $21 in tax. And then the greatest thing about it is that it got sent back to me literally in 4 days since I sent it out. Now, I'm not going to guarantee that to you folks at home. Maybe they just happen to have the time to do it. It might take a little longer for some, maybe a little shorter for others. Who knows? But I had it back in a really short period of time. But once again, I can't say that's going to happen for everyone. So I got this back. I'm just going to put the antenna back on, put the SD card on, and you know what? This guy is ready to rock, and I have that brand new PIR sensor in my existing camera. And folks, if you have the Tactacam Reveal, take advantage of that Platinum program if you have 6 or more cameras, and don't be afraid to get that changed out. So my last video, mock scrape locations and why I place my mock scrapes where I do, I had a particular mock scrape where I talk about bucks that like to bed on this knob. And sure enough, just like I mentioned in the video, I had that happen. So let's show the video right here, or the clip of what I talk about. that mock scrape location, and then I'll show you the pictures from the Tactacam Reveal on who showed up. So we're in a natural funnel, and then the other thing that I've seen here with my mock scrapes in the past and using a trail camera, these bucks like to come up here, and deer in general, and it's not your typical bedding area, but they will like to bed up here because they can see all the way around them. Matter of fact, if a buck beds here, and this is where I've seen them bed, it's right here, literally 10 yards from the mock scrape. They can see that field, they can see down in that field, and then if they have the correct wind, they can smell anything that's coming up over the top of this hill right here. And I actually went on Weather Underground that next day, looked back at the previous time frame when he was sitting there, and I could tell that that wind was to his back where he was located. So he had that all figured out. So I guess the moral of the story is that anytime you have these little elevated areas, like I did in this flatland egg country, don't overlook those areas as bedding areas. Now, I think a lot of times we always think of, and it's always for the most part true, that these bucks like to bed in these wet, swampy areas that are protected usually from coyotes and wolves and these different predators. But they like to utilize these elevated areas, especially as satellite bedding areas, to be able to observe their backtracks and to be able to see all the way around them 360. And I'm sure this isn't going to be the last time that I'm going to have bucks bedding in this particular spot. Bow season is almost upon us, so please hit that subscribe button. And until next time, Clint from Oak and Iron Outdoors.